Hi, and today we're going to talk about OneNote and how to create a class notebook. And maybe you have some other ideas on how to use OneNote. I will show you how I created a class notebook and get one set up. And you can also do a staff notebook, which is for your colleagues. So let's get started. And this is part two. If you want to watch part one, that's fine. But if you're pretty savvy with technology, you probably don't even need part one. You'll figure it out as you go along. So hopefully you'll enjoy this opportunity to get to know OneNote a little more. So here we are. I teach at Chandler Gilbert Community College in Arizona, and this is the intro to my course from last fall. And I'm just going to show you how to set up a Microsoft OneNote class notebook for the students. So in order to do this, we go down to settings, and you have to actually add the application itself. So if you're in Maricopa community colleges, this should work. So you're going to actually add the app first. So I'm going to type in OneNote, and here's the OneNote class notebook. And you want to add the app, but in order to do that, if you read the instructions here, it gives you a little bit of information. And so you're going to need to open up this information page. And in here, you'll actually get your specific code. So you'll need to sign in. And using your LMS registration, log in. Notice it's already logged me in. And if you have never done this before, register a new LMS for Canvas. And once you have that, then you can view it. And here's my consumer key and shared secret. So I'm going to add the app, put in that consumer key and shared secret, and copy and paste those in. And now I've got it. Now I can add the application, and it automatically just puts it. Let's see, let's go down to navigation and refresh the page. And it dropped it all the way down here at the bottom. So if you want to bring it up a little bit, wherever you want it, however you're going to use it. This is all the ones our school has, so save this. And now it's right here. So click on Class Notebook, and you're ready to get it set up. So before students have even registered, this is your class. You're going to type in what the name of your class could be. Usually I just copy the title of the course and put it in here, and maybe I write out what it is. So this is college algebra. Okay, there's 7 steps here. So a couple pieces to recognize. It's going to create 4 actual different spaces. The first one's a collaboration space, and teachers and students can work on this together. I can edit, students can edit it. The content library, the students can only view this. So this is where I drop my masters or specific things that they want to see. I'll show you some other examples to use the content library. The teacher only section is usually like, it's just private. Students can't even see it. So I prepare the stuff for next time in here, and then I can just drag and drop. So it's a really nice section. Any notes to myself, reminders, and then student notebook. And so this is something that you can edit, but the students can also edit, but they can't see each other's notebooks. So let's hit next. And then this is if you were to add teachers or embedded tutors or TAs or other people you need, you can click next if you don't have any of those. Now, your student names, you've got 2 choices. You can automatically just add students from your LMS as they access the notebook. This is a great suggestion. Or you would type and paste your students' names separately. Occasionally, I would do this like the first day or something if they're not in. Okay, well, you need to be in, and we just don't have time to get you signed in, and you can't figure it out. So what's your name separated by a semicolon, and they can do that. But most of the time, if you add it as like a question your syllabus quiz to automatically or to go in and sign in, this is actually what it would look like. They're in their course, and they click on, let's see, for this one it was down here, class notebook, and then it would say welcome, sign in, and then you sign in, and then it would show up. So it would bring your authentication, boom, Now remembers, and this is what the teacher now looks like once it's done. Okay, so add or remove students, add or remove teacher, and manage your notebooks. So this is what the teachers would look like. Students, it just says open your notebook or manage notebook, I think. Okay, back to step number 4. So yes, automatically add students as they do it, and then you can always add them in later, as you notice. Okay, what should be inside each student's private space? Maybe you have specific handouts, or maybe you just want them to access that in the content library, so you don't need that. Class notes, maybe they can copy and paste some things that they did in their online whiteboard space and then drag and drop it into their notes to remember what they did. And they can also put their homework here, and quizzes, you can add whatever section you want. So that's kind of nice that it's customizable. So this is what your would look like. So college algebra, here's a welcome, collaboration space, content library, and teacher only. The student notebook would actually have the following. They'd have their name and then their class notebook homework and class quizzes, right? Because I took off the handout. So if you want that to look a little differently, you can go back a couple steps and do that. Okay, if it looks good, you're going to create it. This will take a few minutes. And then step 7. So as we're waiting, this is what it would look like. So you dive in here and then you look at the notebook. So let's go ahead and you can open your class notebook, view user guide, download. So this is where the next page is going to go. Here it is. So if you download the class notebook add-in, that goes to your desktop idea. You don't need it. Sometimes, like I said, I'll go to just office.com and you don't even need the application. They just have different features, so you may want one or the other. But what you do want to do is you want to click on this OneNote for Teachers. And in here, you're just going to get so many great videos, really cool things that they've added since COVID hit, actually. So things that we would use. Getting started, maybe you've already seen the first one, but this is where we are right now. Class and staff notebooks, getting the most out of each. So great videos to watch, and I highly recommend them as you're trying to figure out what you might use them for. Okay, I'll show you, and you can just save that page. I guess it'd be either, but it's OneNoteForTeachers.com. Okay, so now you're ready to go. And so when you click on it, you'll see this, and then you can move in. Now, if I click on Manage Notebooks, this actually dives me into the student sections. So if you needed to adjust that or edit it, you can go there. But once you hit Open Notebook, it actually brings up a OneNote on your computer. Now, tricky situation, because this is OneNote, but if you notice, it's actually the wrong class. It's a totally different name, and it turns out that I haven't actually added the notebook yet. So just a heads up, if I close this down a little bit, you're going to see lots of different notebooks you could add. And I just created this college algebra one, so that's the one that I want to actually work in, because that's the new one. So let me X out of this old one. Okay, here's my new one I just created. It has the right course. There's a couple places you can also add. If you go down here, there's more notebooks or add a notebook. But it just toggles to open and close some pieces. And you can also search the notebook. So let me open up all these different welcome pages and tabs. Notice there's different colors. If you right click on one, you can change the section color to any color. It's got lots of choices. Rename it. Copy link to this section. Lots of great options. But notice it does give you a little bit information more, like how to get them organized. And then here's your hands-on interactive training. And then your frequently asked questions. And also try out the staff notebook. So this is something fairly recent. And actually, this is interesting. Take a look. The page was created Thursday, June 9th. So probably this summer that they actually figured out the staff notebook. And there's lots of different cool options here. So similar to like students, but now if you are doing some professional development, you'll have this collaboration space. your content library, and then private notebook for each person. So cool in terms of collaboration and having spaces, documents, anything you wanted to upload, pictures in one space. So observations, evaluations, any other schools could use this. So from elementary all the way to teaching college. Here's some information about using the collaboration space, and you can create private sections in the collaboration space. I didn't really do that, but you could. Also in the content library, just here's some ideas, information, readings and texts. Maybe your lectures are here, whiteboards for future reference. I also put I'll show you what I put in that space. And then the teacher spot, again, if you are trying to plan or lesson notes or other things, you can go here. So that's really great. Okay, so as students add, each of their notebook would populate here, and it would just go on and on. So one thing I wanted to show you I think is interesting is if I click on class notebook, they have a couple new things going on. There's distribute a new section, like you might give a new section to everybody, or maybe a page and you want to send a page to everyone's individual notebook. I haven't used that research or feature very much. And there's also review student work, so you can actually correct their work in here, but it's a really cool place to curate student work. And it will always be there and they'll have access to it. This is new. I'm not sure what this reflect is, but there's so many tools that I would encourage you to just try, see what you want to do. Now notice I have it edited. You can make it view. We can also open it in the desktop app. So I already have it open here. Let me come here to this example and I'll show you one way I used it. So when I used it, I'm going to dive a little bit more into like the detail of the class notebook. My first video I just gave a quick overview, but what I would do is so this is actually the section we're in like polynomial functions, and so I would just add a new one in the collaboration space. So whatever was on top was our current or our last lesson, and then over here within this folder, in this section I guess it's called, are these pages, and I date stamped them. But what's also interesting is the day I created them are also notice it says May 3rd, right? So this is actually a little bit before it actually published. So that date will always be there, just like we saw the June date. But this is like a major landing point. I would tell them what section we're in. This happened to be the textbook we were using. But maybe these are the pages we talked about. So this is my lecture of where I drew out some pieces. We talked and then I gave them some things to try, and then we worked through a couple. So this is that infinite whiteboard space, right? And if I zoom out here, you can actually see some of the pages that we actually worked on it was the actual PowerPoint that I used to use, and just had my notes over here, and then I just wrote them on the side. So a lot of space, infinite space. And then as they broke out into teams, so what I would do is I would have a breakout rooms, and research shows that maybe 3 people are best in class, but online need 7 in one group. But I'm not sure how that would work. During COVID, I just had a team of 4 people, so that's kind of nice. And let me show you what I did. So I actually had them type their names into roles, and so it would just kind of help me to know, okay, who's communicating. If they were the recorder, they would be the one writing. You just make up what they need to do and just be consistent throughout the semester. And so I already knew whoever was the writer, maybe they'd be the one that had a tablet they could draw on, and they were sharing their screen. So if you were to use this with students, that may be how you do it in real time.